Welcome to the bold analysis. Remain steadfast and stay in the left because surrender is not in our vocabulary. Those are the words of Raila Odinga. And if you ask me, it was a direct jab at Martha Karua. The receiver of that message was Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka. I look at these speeches as Raila Odinga's exit speeches. And in a hearty conversation today, Raila is defending his move to work with former president, the late President Daniel Moi, at the heart of Kano in the run-up to the 2002 general election, and broke ranks with him, but later successfully kicked him out of power. And in the same spirit, he's also defending the handshake move of working with President Uhuru Kenyatta between 2017 to 2022, in what he says that sometimes the left can always compromise with the right to keep the struggle alive. If I understand, sometimes you have to dine with your oppressor or you dine with the right for you to achieve the objective. If you ask me, it is the handshake that produced Raila Odinga's candidature in the run-up to 2017. But that is not the intention of this. Raila Odinga is making something very critical, that the just concluded general election was decided by the forces of the right. And this has vindicated my analysis. I am glad that after I did that analysis, I saw other analysts also picking up that narrative. And just after 1 week, Asia, the political class is actually acknowledging that there was foreign infiltration. And in Raila Odinga's words, he's not using the kind words for the courts and the IBC. I want you to listen to part of that speech here.
To consolidate the gains and to expand, the left must remain focused. The right wing that has always been in collision with the international monopoly capital is always there. We know that. God has told you what has happened here. The right-wing coup d'etat, electoral coup d'etat that took place on the 5th of, it's not on the 5th, on the 15th, on the 15th of August. You saw the chairman of the Electoral Commission running like a thief to go and announce the results. And the bigger part of the commission saying, no, these are not the results. The international community cannot condemn that kind of action. Why? Because they knew what was happening. It can only happen in Africa. It cannot happen in Europe. It cannot happen in the United States. It is only here is where the chairman of Electoral Commission goes alone with the chairman of 7 commissioners. But he goes alone there to announce the results, and then they say he's the hero of the day, instead of saying he's the devil of the day. So we have a job to do. What options do you have? One of them is not surrender. Surrender is not in our vocabulary. You must say that, as we are saying, that the African democratization project must move on.
Before I pursue why Raila Odinga is now remaining for the left wing to challenge the right wing. I want to humbly request you that kindly just confirm your subscription, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. Thank you very much for those who've been supporting. And of course, and I also want to say a very big shout out to a few friends who are supporting my trip to Western I think over this weekend. I'll be doing some good features that end. So we believe that it's also in the end of just adding value to our viewers. And I want to tell you something. If you remain to the left, and according to me, my understanding about Raila's assertion, remain to the left, is just remaining with the people. And why he's actually making, or why the Azimio wants to take that stand, because that is the strategic position that will help them to topple President Ruto's portrayal as people's activist. One of the baggages, I have had the privilege between 2015 to 2017 of covering NASA campaigns. I actually started covering IBC Must Go protest when I was still an intern. At the height of 2017 elections, I was in mainstream media, in a radio station. And one thing, if you ask me from my perspective, is that Raila Odinga's bid in 2017 was the most successful. If you ask me. Why? He was in his position. He was in his position as the people's activist. Remember, just to tickle your mind, he was even sworn in as people's president. The people's president, that moment Raila was seen as the fighter and the defender of the common man. But with the handshake arrangement, he actually swapped that position and then was seen as a man who has abandoned the quest for the common man and was sitting with the kings. So that is the opportunity, or that is the vacuum that William Ruto successfully occupied. And even in 2017, by the way, Raila was getting a lot of support. So one thing that happened is when William Ruto took up that position, but then he thrusted himself as a hustler. He did not use the social justice to brand himself as people's defender. Raila has been using the social justice. But William Ruto has been using the economic aspect as someone trying to portray himself as someone who is going to help the people from poverty. Raila was more of the social justice. So, when you remain in the left, you will take up the position of fighting for the common man. Why? It's very successful. Now, William Ruto is a president. With the tag presidency, it shades off the hustler tag. He is going to be a hustler in the next few months. 2 years from now, when tough decisions have to be made, you have to cut the image of the presidency and you have to make unpopular decisions facing different challenges. He will actually shed off that tag of hustler. And if someone strategizes himself well, he'll top William Ruto because the votes are with the people. Now, when you remain to the left, you'll actually be in a position to mobilize resources and interests for your future elections. Without fear of contradiction, I am not shocked. I was not shocked by an audit report that State House facilitated Raila Odinga's campaigns. I was not shocked. And I can say that Raila Odinga's campaigns was mobilized domestic space. It's the people, the Mount Kenya Foundation, political parties fund, the Friends of Raila. It was mobilized locally because Raila was somehow standing. in a position that he could not mobilize. Now, William Ruto on this other end was actually installed by the Western forces, as he's saying, and that's why Raila is referring to them as the right wing. So he got a lot of support, even financial support we've mentioned, even financial support he actually got from the right. So it's very easy, where William Ruto was standing, it's very easy to attract the interest. Where Ruto is standing is where Baby Wayne was. So at this moment, when you remain on that wing, no one should cheat you that it's a dry wing. It's not a dry wing. It's not. So one thing you can see very well is that it will be easy for him to mobilize resources. But I also see that as a mid to protect sacred interests. There's some interests that are sacred, commercial interests that are very sacred. And of course, the power will always be disruptive. But when Raila is still, and Kalonzo and the Mother Karua team are still active without surrender, they will neutralize the impact of that Western power. And the kind of force or the kind of effect that will be there, remember there's going to be checks and balances. These checks and balances is what the Western forces do not really fathom. And when they remain to the left, they'll actually play that role. In fact, I need to mention that we need opposition. Not Raila to do it, but we need opposition. If Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua can do it, let them do it. But I agree with the school of thought that it's not supposed to be Raila. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you take of Raila's assertion of no surrender, remain to the left? You should never lose your identity. I want to read the comments and then look at what exactly are your constructive thoughts. Do you also believe what Raila is saying, that William Ruto was installed by the Western powers?